Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're making pita, black bean hummus, and baba ganoush. To start this dish, we need to peel 2 heads of garlic, pop it into a small pot, and add a half cup of olive oil. We're going to bring this over to the stove and we're going to confit this. So this is just 45 minutes simmering away. It's going to get super sweet, super soft, and absolutely delicious. For our pita dough, we need 2 teaspoons of dry active yeast, a half teaspoon of sugar, a half of a cup of warm water, a quarter of a cup of whole wheat flour, and a quarter of a cup of all-purpose flour. We're going to mix this up until everything is well incorporated, and we're going to set this aside to let this bloom for 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, you can see the nice little bubbles in this. We're going to add in 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, just popping that right in there, and 1 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour. Now this is one of my favorite doughs because it is super soft and super supple. You're going to see it as we keep going along here. Now we're going to mix this together until everything is well incorporated and all of the dry ingredients have absorbed all of our wet ingredients. Once it's come to a shaggy dough, get in there with your clean hands and give this a really good knead until we get a nice, soft, cohesive dough. Now we're going to lightly flour our bench, tip this out, and we're going to knead our dough for 2 minutes, just giving this a nice little massage, getting everything well incorporated. Then we are going to place a tea towel over it, let that rest for 10 minutes, come back, give another little 2-minute knead. And you're going to see how beautiful and soft and pillowy this dough becomes. After our second 2-minute knead, we're going to pop this back into the bowl. Cover it with a tea towel, and we're going to place this in a warm spot for an hour, just to let this rise. You're going to see how much this rises up in a minute. Now for our baba ganoush, we need 4 small eggplants. I'm using Indian eggplant here, but use whatever small eggplant you have on hand. We also need 2 jalapeno peppers for our black bean hummus. Now we're going to roast this over an open fire, but let's just take a look at our garlic confit. We're going to shut off the heat on that and let that cool off. Now I am roasting these directly over open flame. I'm just giving 5 minutes per side for 20 minutes. It is going to smoke up your house, so if you have a vent, definitely use that. I don't, so I had to open some windows. Once our eggplants are charred, we're going to pull those out and give our jalapeno peppers a little char as well, if they'll stay on top of my stove. Now I've just placed the eggplant in a strainer over a bowl to collect any moisture, and once these are cool enough to touch, we're going to pull off the stem and peel off as much of that charred skin as possible. If you get a little in there, it's absolutely fine. It's just going to add to the flavor. These are hot, so just be careful when you're peeling. So just to continue to peel all the skin off, and then we're going to go in with a fork and smash this up. And you can see the steam rising off this, and it does smell delicious. Now we're going to add the juice of 1 whole lemon, a quarter of a cup of tahini, which is sesame paste. Give that a little mix to start this going. We're going to add 2 of our confit garlic cloves. Give that a nice little smash. These are super soft, so they should smash pretty easily. We're going to add a tablespoon of Greek yogurt. We're using sumac for this, which is going to add a lemony flavor. We're going to add a teaspoon of sumac and 3/4 of a teaspoon of aleppo chili flakes. If you can't find aleppo, just use regular red chili flakes. We're also going to add in a half teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper and a teaspoon of kosher salt. We're going to mix this up as well as possible. Cover this up and put it in the fridge until we're ready to use it. For our black beans, we need 1 can of rinsed, drained black beans. Our 2 charred jalapenos, just chopping up the stem. If you don't want as much heat, take the seeds and the veins out. But the roasting kind of mellows the flavor of these. We're going to add in 3 of our confit garlic cloves along with 2 tablespoons of our garlic olive oil, 1 tablespoon of tahini, the juice of 1 lemon, a teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper, and a teaspoon of kosher salt. This is the easiest thing you can make, hummus, and we're just going to blend this up until we get a nice puree and pop that in the fridge. Now you can see how much our pita dough has risen, so we need to punch this down, tip it out onto a floured workbench, Almost forgot to flour, because we don't want any rips or tears in this. So plopping this out onto our workbench. And we're going to divide this into 8 even-ish pieces. I'm not weighing this, but look how beautiful this dough is. And this is the fun part of making pita. You're going to see in a second here when we go over to the stove. So we're going to divide into 8 pieces, covering up the ones we're not using right away. We did give those a rest for about 10 minutes, just so everything could relax again. But then working one piece at a time, we're going to roll this out to a 6-inch disc, as thin and even as possible. We're going to plop it down on a cast iron over high heat for about a minute, give this a little flip, and you're going to notice this nice puffiness happening. This is the steam. This is what causes the pocket in your pita. The steam's going to rise up. It's going to separate the 2 layers. That's why we want to make sure there are no rips or tears in our pita. We're going to let that cook for 2 minutes, give another little flip, let it cook for 30 more seconds, and we're done. Now to garnish, we're going to drizzle both our hummus and our baba ganoush with a little olive oil. The baba is going to get a sprinkling of flaky salt. The hummus is going to get a sprinkling of pine nuts. You can roast them if you want to. I didn't, but it's completely up to you. And this is looking fantastic. Now let's go ahead and give this a taste, but first let's make sure we have a pocket in this pita, and we do. So that was successful. First, we're going to taste the black bean hummus. Now, I love chickpea hummus, but this is a nice little riff on it. It's lemony, it's garlicky. You can taste the tahini in this, but it's very earthy and rich. Now let's go over to the baba ganoush. And this is looking great. You really taste the char on this eggplant. The lemon in this really comes out. The sumac helped with that as well. That little drizzle of olive oil just adds almost a nuttiness to this, and this is absolutely beautiful and delicious. But there it is, pita, black bean hummus, and baba ganoush. I hope you all try to make this in your home. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I really do appreciate every single one of you. If you liked this video, give it a like. If you loved it, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell, because I put out new videos every Thursday. Thank you again, and until next time, happy cooking.